Hello ladies and gentlemen, in today's video we are going to be breaking down every single fight on UFC Fight Night, Plessis versus Usman. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the first fight of the night. Went too far for a little bit. Melisano versus Dione Barbosa. For a second I forgot who this is because I'm used to her face. Melisano, if you guys don't know, she is 5-1 I believe, maybe 6-1. They're saying 0-0 because she hasn't been in the UFC yet. And this is a short notice fight. Dione Barbosa was supposed to fight somebody else. Melisano was on The Ultimate Fighter in this current season. If you guys don't know, The Ultimate Fighter is currently going on, and I believe I'm the only one watching it. And Melisano was on the show, lost in her first fight, and is already making her UFC debut, while the other contestants who won are still fighting on The Ultimate Fighter. If that doesn't tell you enough about why, as a professional fighter, you should never be fighting on that show, then I don't know what's going to convince you. So let's talk about the breakdown. Well, I haven't really watched a lot of tape on Melisano, but on The Ultimate Fighter, just in case you didn't know, she got TKO'd in round 1, maybe it was round 2 actually, with a teep to the body. I think. Am I mixing this up? I think, no, she got choked out. That's what happened. She got choked out. And she was the first pick of Team DC. The coaches are DC and Michael Bisping, because we just haven't had enough of those two. So they're the coaches of The Ultimate Fighter. Who's excited for two non-active fighters being the coaches? But this is not about that. Maybe we'll make a video about that. But anyway, she's really not that good. She was a prospect, and that's why she was picked first. And she was this big thing. I didn't see much. And the big thing is she froze up, and that's why she lost to a girl who she's probably better than. We don't know yet. Maybe that girl's going to go on to win the season. It's still ongoing. But she did lose, and what she was saying is that she froze up on the big stage. Now, if you're calling the Apex the big stage, then I don't even know what you're going to call UFC Oakland, because that's a much bigger stage in front of a big crowd. So if she froze up then, how much more so is she going to freeze up now? Dione Barbosa, I don't rate her. I don't think she's good, but she has been in the UFC. She's 9-4, which is like a decent record for females, I should say. There's only one of them. She's mid. She's but Melisano is worse than The only thing I know about her is her loss, and she's been good on the regional scene, but that's not much. That's not enough. Dione Barbosa has been around a while. I do think she will pull this one off by a classic female 29-28 decision. But Melisano is not bad, and she has power, so I wouldn't be surprised if she gets the knockout. I would be a little bit surprised, actually, but I just don't think she's going to win. I'm not confident in her. I'll tell you that much. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. RJ Harris versus Alvin Hines. I have no idea who RJ Harris is. He took this fight on short notice. Alvin Hines is 7-1. He has one fight in the UFC, and he fought, what is that guy's name? The guy who he fought is actually pretty good. That's the thing, is like he made his UFC debut against and it had to be on short notice as well. His name is Jonathan Diniz. Jonathan Diniz, who I think, as far as the heavyweight goes, is pretty good, especially on the feet. His only 2 losses, Jonathan Diniz that is, in the UFC or in general, was by being out-grappled. He hasn't really gotten outstruck, and that's something that people have noticed is like, okay, we have to take this guy down. Alvin Hines, I think he couldn't get his takedowns, but for the fight staying on the feet for 3 rounds, he did decently well, especially on short notice coming into the UFC against someone who I would say is right outside the rankings, and I think is actually good enough to be in the rankings. Alvin Hines looked pretty good, and the thing that I really liked about it is the fact that the round that he did win out of the 3 rounds was round number 3, and for a heavyweight to be able to push that pace, I think that's pretty impressive. And so I don't know who RJ Harris is. I know he's 5-0, but Alvin Hines was 7-0 when he came into the UFC, and then he fought a UFC level opponent, which is weird to say at heavyweight, because it's funny, like even at heavyweight, there still is a skill gap between outside the UFC and in the UFC. Alvin Hines should win this one. I'm going to say by knockout. He has a couple of those, and I just really see him pushing a pace on RJ Harris, and I have no idea who RJ Harris is. So yeah, let's move on to the next fight of the night. Alden Coria versus Stewart Nicoll. This is a very weird fight. This has to have been on short notice, but I don't think it is. I think I actually looked into it because I was so shocked, and I don't think it was on short notice. I don't understand why this fight is happening. I don't know why Alden Coria is fighting Stewart Nicoll. If you don't know, Alden Coria is really fucking good. He is, 2-0 in the UFC right now, but his first win, his debut fight in the UFC, was against Alessandro Costa, and he knocked him out in round 2 after looking very good in round 1. And it's like an knockout because Alessandro Costa hurt his foot, and that's when he got TKO'd. But still, like round 1 and leading into round 2, it was going in a very specific direction. He was like at moments out-grappling Alessandro Costa too. And then his next fight against Luis Garul, he picked him apart on the feet. He's really good, has very good boxing. I believe he's one of Joshua Vad's trading partners. And Stewart Nicoll, on the other hand, he came into the UFC as an 8-0 prospect, and then he lost all 3 fights in the UFC by a Leon Edwards knockout, decision, and submission. That's the Leon Edwards way now. You lose one of each. Let me get one of each, please. He got knocked out by Alessandro Costa. So that's what I would get. Alessandro Costa knocks out Stewart Nicoll. Whoa. That was very close there. Knocks out Stewart Nicoll. That's so risky. Oh my God. So yeah, Alessandro Costa knocks out Stewart Nicoll. Alden Coria knocks out Alessandro Costa. And what do we say? Well, give him Stewart Nicoll. What are we doing? Alden Coria deserves a ranked opponent, not one of the worst bad flyweights we currently have in the UFC. And that doesn't mean he's bad. He's not bad. Like, flyweights are not bad. If you're in the UFC as a flyweight, you're really good. You're the top 30 in the world. But we're talking about somebody who should be fighting a top 15 versus a top 30. So Alden Coria will knock out Stewart Nicoll. Stewart Nicoll is also just really small for flyweight. Look at the difference, 5'8 versus 5'5. And Stewart Nicoll's not even stocky. He's just short and kind of skinny. So I don't really see a way for him to win. Alden Coria should knock him out. I'll say round 2 after picking him apart for a round. And I like Alden Coria. He's actually a big prospect. I don't know why they're doing this. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. Levi Rodrigues Jr. versus Felipe Franco. So, boy, do I have a story for you guys. Everybody huddle up. Everybody huddle up. I have a story to tell you guys. These two fighters, they do have some history. This isn't... There's a story here. So, Felipe Franco, he fought on Contender Series. And he fought an opponent by the name of... Douglas... No. What? Here, okay. Freddie Vidal, okay? So that's the name I was missing from this story. So, what's going on? Okay, here we are. So, Felipe Franco fights Freddie Vidal on Contender Series. And it was taken on short notice. Felipe Franco was supposed to fight somebody else. And Freddie Vidal comes in on short notice. He was 3-0, kind of a prospect. Even though 3-0, it's not much. But it was at light heavyweight, so whatever. And he trains with Matt Serra, like he's under their gym. So they kind of slide in a little bit easier. It's just something I've noticed. But anyway, 3-0 comes in. Felipe Franco, in the beginning, was winning the fight. But then towards the end of the fight, he started kind of just getting out-wrestled. And Freddie Vidal ends up taking him down, holding him down for like a boring amount of time. And at the end of round 3, ends up getting a submission. It was either arm triangle or rear naked choke. And he submits Felipe Franco. But the thing is, it was a very boring fight. And also, Freddie Vidal missed weight by a couple pounds. I believe he weighed in like 210 instead of 205. And so Dana White is basically thinking, well, fuck off. Like, you missed weight and you had a boring performance. But Freddie Vidal gets on the mic and he says, hey, Dana, I know this was a fucking shit show. It was a terrible performance. And I missed weight, but I took it on short notice. So I think it's fair that I should still get accepted. And Dana White said, you know what? Instead of accepting you to the UFC, we'll give you another fight in the same season of Contender Series in a couple weeks to prove yourself. And so who do they give him? But Levi Rodrigues Jr., this man who we cannot see what he looks like. Just picture a light, like an out of shape, skinny fat light heavyweight who's 6 foot. Really? Is he only 6 foot? I could have sworn he was taller. Anyway, so where are we in the story? Yeah, so Levi Rodrigues fights this guy, and within a minute, Freddie Vidal is back to holding him against the cage for like 2 minutes of the round, just holding him against the cage. We're all like, God damn it. Then Levi Rodrigues ends up knocking him the fuck out. He created distance, drops him. Levi tries to wrestle him. He literally just like gets a little bit of space, frames, and smashes his face into his knee. Knocks him out cold. And so that's the story, and that's how these two connect. So we're going to be using some MMA math. Oh, and by the way, if you look at Levi Rodrigues, this is part of the math. If you look at Levi Rodrigues' record, you'll notice that it doesn't say knockout next to that win, but it says no contest. Do you want to know why it says no contest? Because Levi Rodrigues Jr. popped for steroids by that fight. Now, what I'm saying is that if he got popped for steroids, I actually don't think he's going to be off of it. Like, 2 things are going to happen. Either he's going to come and just look super fat and completely out of shape, and we're like, oh, he's off the roids, he's going to look terrible now. Or he's just going to find another one to take to pass this time. And that was in USADA times, and now there's a new one. So whatever they are, they don't catch people as much. We've been noticing. No one's popping for steroids anymore. What's going on? So I think Levi Rodrigues will be back on the roids. And just looking at both of them, one of them got a short notice fight and got out-grappled by this guy, and the other one knocked him out around. And Levi Rodrigues has a nasty record. Just look at all of his fights. They all end by knockout. even back to his amateur days, just knocking everyone the fuck out. So I do think he'll win by knockout. And Felipe Franco, let's talk about him for a second. He has a fight in the UFC. He took it on short notice against Mario Pinto at heavyweight, and it was like a competitive fight. And that might make you think like, oh, maybe he's actually very good because Mario Pinto was supposed to be very good before that. But no, because like I said last time, and this is a point that I'll bring up in a lot of my predictions, when people take short notice fights, weird things happen. I told you, Manel Cop, whatever happened with like last week's card. When there's people who you think are going to win and they get a short notice fight against somebody who's like filling in and you think that they're just going to steamroll through them, and ends up being competitive because short notice is short notice. No matter how bad the other guy is, you didn't have time to prepare for them. Anyway, I'm picking Levi Rodrigues. That was a long ass breakdown. I'm picking Levi Rodrigues by knockout in round number 1. Let's move on to Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani versus Seokhyeon. Now this one, as far as MMA math goes, this is the easiest fight to use MMA math on. They both have the same prior opponent. What's his name? Phil Rowe. And you just look at the performance difference. Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani went to like a competitive decision with him where he was kind of out damaging him on the feet, but ended up grappling as well to really get that decision win. Versus Seokhyeon, who also went to a decision, but 30-27 him, basically held him down for all 3 rounds. I'm not a big fan of Seokhyeon, even though I think he's a very big prospect in this division, and he's going to ragdoll a lot of people, including, I think, Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani. He is kind of boring. He takes people down. He does land a lot of ground and pound, but he doesn't have finishes in the UFC, I don't think. At least from what I remember. He was a KO guy to begin with. He came up Seokhyeon KO. They call him Korea Mike Tyson. And if your last name's KO, then maybe KO some motherfuckers instead of grappling them. But he's really good. He's really good at grappling. He fought Alban Elliott. Nobody really knew who he was at the time. Everyone was picking Alban Elliott, and that was when Alban Elliott was still on his streak, back when we thought he was like an actual prospect. And Seokhyeon was stinging him up on the feet and out grappling him. Just like all around dominated him. Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani, he's good. He got a knockout contender series. Again, beating Phil Rowe, it's not like super impressive, but it's something. You know, it's almost like a Neil Magny situation. A little bit. I think they actually fought each other. It was a competitive fight. I don't think he's going to win this one. I think it's a bad stylistic matchup for him. I think Seokhyeon is going to have enough power on the feet to get respect, and I think he'll be able to out-grapple him. Even though Lebosnoyani does have good jiu-jitsu and good grappling, there is going to be a big difference. It's like, I'm just saying, look at the last fight of how they both took the fight to Phil Rowe. It's just a big difference. Seokhyeon should finish this one, and he's a very big prospect. He was supposed to fight. At some point, he had a fight booked against Jacoby Smith is his name. Jacoby Smith, one of the two. And I think he would have beat him. Even though Jacoby Smith is a prospect, and he's still undefeated, I believe. I think Seokhyeon would have beat him too. He's really fucking good, guys. So look out for him. Let's move on to next fight of the night. Austin Bashi versus Jose Miguel Delgado. All right, this one's interesting. And this one, in my opinion, is a complete coin flip. Let's see the odds. Oh, it is a coin flip. All right. Me and the odds agree on this one. So, it's tough. These type of fights are tough to predict. We've seen it so many times. Lanky, powerful striker versus stocky wrestler / jiu-jitsu guy. One that comes to mind is Sean Brady versus Miles Morales. That's kind of the situation we're looking at. But with that being said, I'm going to pick Austin Bashi. And the reason why is because I think when you have these grapplers who need the takedown, which let's just talk about it. Austin Bashi is going to need to get a takedown. He's not winning this on the feet. Jose Miguel Delgado is very good on the feet. But there's 2 kinds of grapplers in MMA. There's the kind that needs the takedown, and if they don't, they look like a victim on the feet. And then there's the kind that they will throw heat in order to get those takedowns. Even kind of Khabib did this, where he's just throwing powerful shots, and it doesn't have to be the most technical, but it's him saying, I'm not going to be a victim trying to run around. Like, I'm going to give you something to worry about on the feet, and then I'm going to shoot a takedown. And even, I think that's the difference that we saw in Sean Brady in his 2 fights. When he fought Miles Morales, is that his name? Is it Miles? I think so. Miles Morales. Michael Morales. It's Michael Morales. When he fought Michael Morales, he looked like a victim. He had the knee pads on. That's never a good sign. I don't think a fighter has ever won with knee pads on. He had the knee pads on. He kind of looked scared out there. And then when he fought Joaquin Buckley, he kind of said, fuck it, man. I'm going to war. I'll get these takedowns no matter what. I'm throwing bombs. And we saw that work out. And I think Austin Bashi could do a similar thing. And Delgado, he's a tad bit overrated. He's a little bit overrated. Look, he knocked down my boy Hyder Amil. We're all sad about that, all of us as a collective. And I thought he was very good because of that. But then he lost to Nathaniel Wood, mate. He lost to him. It was a close decision, but he lost, and regardless, it was a close decision. And I think did he get dropped in that fight, or I think he dropped Nathaniel Wood and then he got out grappled for 2 rounds. Not a good look, and he got like calf kicked as well. That's what Nathaniel Wood does. Nice jab and calf kick. You know how it is. And then he fought Andre Fili, and he went to a very uncomfortably close decision with Andre Fili. And I mean, Andre Fili is decent. He's all right. He's not a walk in the park. But if I want to believe in you as a prospect, you're gonna have to do better than that. You're gonna have to knock him the fuck out or something. You know, we've seen Dan Ige knocked out Andre Fili. That might be Dan Ige's last win. No, I think he has one more against Sean Woodson after that. But regardless, that was recent Dan Ige that hasn't been looking that good. Knocked out Andre Fili. How are you not doing that? He got dropped by Andre Fili badly, and I do think it was a bad matchup for him. Like, it was another lanky striker as well. Hard for him to close the distance. Austin Bashi is going to have to close distance. Let's see their reach difference. Yeah, 4-inch that's legs. Why are you telling me legs? Okay, here, yeah, it's a 3-inch reach difference. He is taller, 5'11 versus 5'6. That's a big height difference. But in the same time, that height difference will allow Austin Bashi to get those takedowns. And Andre Fili was getting takedowns on Delgado. And he's a much taller guy who's not really a takedown kind of guy. I'm going to be picking Austin Bashi by first round submission. But if he doesn't get those takedowns, he's going to get knocked the fuck out. But also, doesn't he kind of feel like he's the kind of guy who has a good chin? Doesn't he just feel like that? Just like, look at this like body type. I like jaw type is what I'm actually trying to say. He looks like he could eat a couple punches. And that's really what we're looking for here. Can he eat a couple punches to get his takedown? And he only has one loss. Delgado has 2 losses, so it's not that much of a difference. But Austin Bashi's only loss is to C-Rod. And, I mean, join the club, man. You know, Chiwiwis is waving for you. Hi, how's it going, man? Yeah, sit down, have a seat. Are you an undefeated fighter who lost to C-Rod? Have a seat right here next to me. It happens. It'll happen to you. But since then, he looked pretty good. He just got a submission over, I don't remember his name, but that bantamweight who ended up fighting, I'm not remembering anybody's names right now. The point is, he was very good, whoever that guy's name is. You know, I could just figure this out. I don't have to hold you guys hostage here while I'm sitting here trying to figure out the name. We'll just do it. Here, where are you? The guy who fought Marcus McGee. See, now I'm remembering because I'm looking it up. He had like an interest. It was a short name. He's a Mexican dude. Got a knockout over that Australian guy. I'm buying myself time until I find out what this guy's name is. John Yanis. So John Yanis fought Marcus McGee after that fight. He submitted John Yanis in round 1, like pretty quickly too. And then John Yanis goes down a weight class to his original weight class, fights Marcus McGee, and puts on a competitive fight. He didn't win, but it was competitive. So I rate that win. And that's kind of like another guy with power in his hands, who Austin Bashi was able to take down and submit. So I do think Austin Bashi wins this one. Let's move on. This breakdown's getting kind of long, and so we have a fight that I won't be spending more than 30 seconds on, most likely. Fatima Kline versus Tabatha Ricci. I'm going to be going with Fatima Kline. It's a female fight. I don't really know who's going to win. I'm not very confident in this pick. No fucking way. Is there a 5-inch height difference? Yeah, Fatima Kline should really win this. 5'6 versus 5'1. I mean, look, if it's a competitive fight, they're going to give it to Tabatha Ricci. We're not going to speak about why. I'm not going to tell you why they're going to go with Tabatha Ricci, but if it's a competitive fight, there's going to be a reason, 2 reasons at least, why they're going to go with Tabatha Ricci. But I think Fatima Kline can get a knockout. She's probably going to win by decision because it's a female fight. On the feet, she's much better. And I said this last time we were breaking down a women's fight. If there's a woman who knows how to throw a 1-2 and they can throw a body kick or a head kick that looks even semi-decent, you just have to pick them for a while. Now, this is at a much higher level. Maybe. Is it? I don't know. They're not telling me the rankings. But this is like oh yeah, she's a big favorite. As she should be. Tabatha Ricci is like, okay. I think what catches people off guard is she's pretty good for how hot she is. Usually we see a hot female fighter and we think they're going to suck because they're good looking. They don't need to be a good fighter. And she's actually pretty good. She has decent hands. Her boyfriend is a boxer. They've been working on their hands, but she also relies on her grappling a little bit. Fatima Kline has good grappling defense, and she's actually a good grappler in her own right. And she has a couple knockouts, and for females to have knockouts, it's very rare. So I'm picking her to win. Good record, 9-1. Her only loss is to Jasmine Jasudavicius, and that's a fair loss. You know, that's a pretty decent loss. I think it was like her second fight in the UFC. So we're not afraid of that. Let's move on to the main card. Tommy McMillen versus Alberto Montes. Boy, do I have a pick for you guys. I have to go with Tommy McMillen. Now, in hindsight, I could already see myself in the reaction video saying this was my dumb pick. Which it is. If there was a non-safe pick that I have on this card, is he a underdog? Is he a favorite? Fuck. So maybe it's not that dumb of a pick. I really thought I was picking an underdog with this one. He feels like an underdog, Tommy McMillen, against Alberto Montes. because everyone's talking shit about him. And why? Guys, stop being a fucking hater. Put some respect on Tommy McMillen's name. I know he's cringy. I know he's like a Timu version of Sean O'Malley, but he's really fucking good, and he's very entertaining. His last fight against Zucchini, Fettuccine, whatever the guy's name was, the Italian guy, that was a fucking scrap, and he didn't get hit as much as people think he did, but he puts on this one-round banger, putting the guy out in one round, basically doing the Max Holloway point down for a full round, and everyone's talking shit about him after, oh, he sucks. Bro, just sit down and enjoy the show or leave our sport. Don't watch it then. Stop it. And I'm on to all you guys talking about Conor McGregor. You guys see all these guys on Instagram? Oh, I don't care about Conor McGregor. I'm happy he lost because of the allegations. Bro, you're not even a UFC fan. Where did you come from? Name 3 Conor McGregor fights. Yeah? name all the champions in every weight class. Who are you? Leave the sport. Stop trying to be a hardcore. We, the real fight fans, just like entertaining fights. Tommy McMillen's fucking entertaining. And his fight on Contender Series against Arman Sarukian's teammate, Musayev, Gafra, something. One of the Mu, That's how the name started. He looked really good. Round 1, he was put into a tight guillotine, barely managed to get out, basically like twisted his head the complete opposite direction to get out of it, and ended up piecing him up on the feet the next 2 rounds. And that's another thing. He showed a lot of heart. Now let's talk about his opponent, because I spent a lot of time on him. Alberto Montes, another one of Ilia Topuria clones, just walking around. There's so many of them these days. But it just doesn't hit the same anymore. You know what I mean? If Ilya Gaethje went differently, if Ilya sparked out Gaethje in round 1 like he was supposed to, I probably would have picked Montes. Because there's aura, but the aura's gone. This whole figure, this whole stocky, like good-looking dudes fucking looking like they have power in their hands. The myth is gone. It doesn't hit the same anymore looking at this figure. And another thing is, he doesn't have as much power as Ilia Topuria. Pete, we just it's pretty crazy, but we see someone who looks like Ilia Topuria, and we just assume they're good, because most times they are pretty good, and we just assume that they have knockout power, which he does. He has knockouts. In his last fight, he rocked his opponent to get his anaconda or Dars. He gets a lot of anacondas. That's like his thing, the anaconda. So here's the question. Can he get the anaconda on Tommy McMillen? Because that's how he basically wins all of his fights. I don't think so. And the reason why is because even though Tommy McMillen started off as a grappler and you're thinking he might wrestle, he doesn't shoot takedowns. He kind of tries to get body locks, like Charles Oliveira style, and drags you down, pulls down your head into a headlock, and starts kneeing you in the fucking face and going for headlock, like submissions from there. Similar to Alberto Montes, but the height difference is huge. There's a 5-inch height difference between the two of these boys. 6 foot versus 5'7". He's literally the height of Ilia Topuria. It's not that cool anymore to be 5'7". It hurts. It pains me to say, believe me, but it's not that cool anymore. And 6 foot is the new 5'7". How tall is Justin Gaethje? I think he's 6 feet tall. We found the weakness. It's just being taller. So I really do see Tommy McMillen pushing a pace. Alberto Montes, when he gets pushed back, he does fade a little bit, and he doesn't have that much power. He has great boxing, but Tommy McMillen has good head movement despite all the funkiness. And he has power. He has great grappling. I don't think Alberto Montes is going to take him down. And I could see him just snapping down the head, landing knees. I think it's going to go to a decision. I'd say Tommy McMillen, 29-28 decision. I'd say maybe he loses the first round. He might even get dropped in the first round. I could see that happening. He gets dropped early in his fights sometimes. But then round 2 and 3, just pushing a pace, gassing out Alberto Montes, maybe getting a late 3rd round TKO just from completely gassing out Alberto Montes. But this is a great fight. And I like that, man, there used to be a time where you saw a prospect and you're like, man, I'm going to write this guy down. I'm easily going to pick him the next 3 fights. Just by looking at how he looked in this fight. Alberto Montes in his last fight, I was like, yep, this is somebody I'm picking the next 3 fights easily. Easily. Don't even have to think about it. I don't have to do any research. But then they put him against another guy who I felt like that. So now it's like, man, they're just putting prospect versus prospect right away. Like first fight in the UFC, second fight in the UFC for both of them. And they're already fighting each other. So no, I mean, takes balls, like you're getting rid of one of these guys. But regardless, I think they're both going to make it pretty far. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. Here's what the question comes down to. Can Mitch Ramirez knock out Chase Hooper with an overhand? Because that's basically all it is. Like, Chase Hooper has been getting knocked out recently. There was a time, man. There was a time where Chase Hooper was on a 5-fight win streak, 3 of them by submission, and we thought he was the next Charles Oliveira, right? There was that narrative going around. Charles Oliveira 2.0 coming around, submitting everybody, amazing jiu-jitsu. And then he just got sparked out in round 1, 2 fights in a row. And the second one against Lance Gibson Jr., who's really not that good. In hindsight, He didn't get TKO'd by Bobby Green, which is what's happening to just everyone now. Everyone's getting knocked out by Bobby Green. And he didn't. He survived 3 rounds. So against Lance Gibson Jr. is actually not that bad. And he took it on short notice. So he's pretty good, I guess. Knocked out Chase Hooper. And it was kind of like a soy knockout. It wasn't even like Chase Hooper got flatlined. He kind of quit from it. He got knocked out before that against Alex Hernandez, who just likes knocking people out. And he'll go on a little streak of knocking people out just to lose to people who he absolutely shouldn't. I love when people do that. Just completely destroy how you think of fighters. But Chase Hooper should win this one. Let's just cut to the chase. Mitch Ramirez, not that good. He doesn't have a win in the UFC. He just lost to Mike Davis. He lost a couple people before that. He got knocked out by by Protest on Contender Series. He was the first of many to get knocked out by Protest in the UFC. Chase Hooper should be able to get a takedown, and if he does, it's basically over. I'm going to be picking Chase Hooper by submission, round 1. Let's move on to the next fight of the night, and the co-main event, Jared Cannonier versus Christian Leroy Duncan. The first thing I want to highlight is that Christian Leroy Duncan is 30 years old, and Jared Cannonier is 42. All right? We all have time to chew on that? Okay, now let's break down the fight. Christian Leroy Duncan is really fucking good, and Jared Cannonier, he is a tough out. He is a tough out. He's very hard to knock out. That's what I'm going to say. The most recent real, technical knockout was against Imavov, but that wasn't a real knockout. That was one of the few Jason Herzog fumbles, because usually Jason Herzog's a really good ref. He did fumble that one. He stopped it when Jared Cannonier was basically a little bit rocked is how I would describe it. But then after that, Kyle Borralho basically flatlined Jared Cannonier, but that one went to decision. So it's kind of weird because he has a knockout that wasn't a knockout at all, and he has a decision loss on his record that he got flatlined in. He went limp for a big portion of that fight, but then he survived somehow. The punches woke him back up. If Kyle Borralho dropped Jared Cannonier and walked off, it would have been a walk-off KO because Jared Cannonier fell stiff. But then with the punches, the ground and pound woke him back up. Almost got arm triangle too. He managed to survive. But my point is, Jared Cannonier has been looking very bad recently. His last win was RoboCop, but before that it was Marvin Vettori. And I feel like since the Marvin Vettori fight, because that was like a beatdown, but then he came back and just really didn't look that good. He beat RoboCop, but he got dropped 3 times in that fight, which kind of helps the narrative I was saying that you can drop him, but you can't really knock him out. And then after that, he fought MVP and got dropped twice in that fight. And I mean, there's a lot of people in the UFC at this point who have gone to a boring, close decision with MVP. But Jared Cannonier managed to get dropped by him twice, coming up a weight class too. MVP's a 170 guy, dropping you twice. And so I think Jared Cannonier he can beat people who want to make it a dogfight because he is a dog, even at his old age. But Christian Leroy Duncan, he's very technical. Very technical. He loves throwing spinning shit. You guys, I don't know if you know this. Remember last year with all the spinning elbows? Who started it? Who was the first guy to get a spinning elbow in the UFC in the year of 2025? Or in general, actually, because there was one in PFL too. That Magomedov guy got knocked the fuck out. Oh, that was so satisfying. Anyway, who was the first guy? I bet you think it was Carlos Prates against Jeff Neal. Wrong. Christian Leroy Duncan got a spinning elbow knockout against Eric Anders. He was the first guy in 2025, but nobody talked about it because one spinning elbow is not that cool. The second one gets cool. And also because Christian Leroy Duncan just does that shit. That's just shit that he does. Knocked out Marco Tullio. I thought very highly of Marco Tullio. He's coming off of a little bit of a stinky performance against Roman Dolidze, but he did beat Roman Dolidze. It was like a 30-27, kind of boring, but I mean, that's what Roman Dolidze does. You don't really beat Dolidze dominantly, except for Fluffy, but he's really the only guy. And that's why everyone was so high on him, because he dominated Roman Dolidze. Most times, you go to a close, annoyingly boring decision with him, as Christian Leroy Duncan did. But he's really good, and I think he's going to win a decision over Jared Cannonier. Throw some spinning shit. I could see a spinning back fist landing on Jared, dropping him, but Jared recovers, tries to grapple. And Jared, he likes to hold people against the fence. This is the new and improved old Jared Cannonier, just likes holding people up on the fence and stalling time. But Christian Leroy Duncan has great elbows from there too. And he's not gonna be able to hold him long on the fence. It's a 3-rounder, and even if he does stall a little bit, Duncan will cause more damage. So I'm picking CLD by decision. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. We could talk about age again. Dricus is 35? 32, 35. I was looking at the ages before. I hate that the website doesn't put them. He's either 32 or 35. Regardless, Kamaru Usman's 39. That's right, he's 39. He is here for his yearly fight. He fights once a year. And we thought he was back, right? Because he beat Walkie Buckley, and that was when Walkie Buckley was on the rise. He was like probably a plus 300 underdog easily, and we just thought, his knees. There were rumors about his knees. A strong wind will break Kamaru Usman's knees. Turns out that's McGregor, actually, that happens to. But we thought Walkie Buckley would just stomp at the knees. But turns out Kamaru Usman took him down, dominated him for most of the round. And we just thought that Walkie Buckley was really good. Kamaru Usman was just much better. But then Sean Brady came along. And Sean Brady's just been making Kamaru Usman look terrible. Just going after his wins one after another and just doing it better. Kamaru Usman beat Leon Edwards the first time. Went to was beating Leon Edwards the second time before the head kick, and then lost the third one, and we just thought Leon Edwards is just that good. He's just the ultimate counter grappler, Leon Edwards. He's technical on the feet, and he's just good. You can't really take him down, and you definitely can't hold him down. And then Sean Brady just took him down easily and held him down. When they told Leon Edwards, "Don't let him bully you, son," against Kamaru Usman, they didn't know what kind of bullying was coming. Sean Brady bullied him. That's real bullying. Now, looking back, Kamaru Usman was just kind of scraping by a decision with Leon Edwards. That's how we have to look at it now. So Sean Brady completely dominates Leon Edwards, submits him in the third, and then Walkie Buckley. Kamaru Usman out-grappled Buckley. Sean Brady holds him down for 3 rounds, basically 10-8s in every single round with the grappling, doesn't let him get up at all. Against Kamaru Usman, Walkie Buckley got up a couple times. Round 5 got very interesting against Walkie Buckley. As opposed to with Sean Brady was basically, there were 3 different times in that fight where if you were like a soy ref, you could have called it a TKO against Walkie Buckley. I don't think you should have, but he landed so many unanswered strikes from Mound, and Kamaru Usman did not have that kind of control. What I'm saying is, Kamaru Usman, although he's not as bad as we thought he was before the Buckley fight, now he's not good as we thought he was after the Buckley fight, because now it gets put into perspective. And he's older, and he's only older from the Buckley fight. He only got older. That was 38 Kamaru Usman. Now we're holding up with 39 Kamaru Usman. He didn't get better. And now it's up a weight class. And this is like a weird going up a weight class. I don't think he was struggling to make weight. And it doesn't feel like it was a very planned out thing. It feels like, well, I guess they're not going to give me a title shot at welterweight. Right? That's kind of what it feels like. Because I know he fought Khamzat at 185, but that was on short notice. And that was Khamzat's first fight at 185 too. So it's kind of like 2 170-pounders fighting each other. Dricus is a big 185er. He's gigantic. Much bigger. There's no way he's only 6'1", by the way. He's easily 6'2", or Izzy's lying about his height. There's no way Israel Adesanya is 3 inches taller than Dricus du Plessis, when in the face-off, they're basically the same height. So somebody is lying. I think they're both closer to 6'2". Maybe Izzy's 6'3". Dricus is 6'2". Because I'm telling you right now, if you're expecting a 1-inch difference in height between these two people when they step in the cage, you're going to be shocked. And I don't even know if Kamaru is 6 feet tall. He might be a little bit shorter. But regardless, Dricus is going to tower over him. He's going to be much bigger than him. And can Kamaru Usman get the takedowns? I don't think Kamaru can get... he'll get some takedowns, but can he hold down Dricus? I know Dricus is coming off of a fight where he got held down for 5 rounds, but part of that was just bad game planning. They kind of thought that Khamzat Chimaev will gas out after a round, which he does. But now we learned that you have to make him work for that round. You can't just lie down, getting pinned in a crucifix, letting him land these pitter-pat punches on you and expect him to gas out. You're going to have to make him work for it. That was a big mistake they made in their camp. I think that a rematch would go differently if that ever happens. But regardless, Kamaru Usman does not have the control that Khamzat does. He doesn't have the size that Khamzat does. And I think that even if he gets takedowns, he doesn't have the danger factor that Khamzat does. When Khamzat gets on your back, it's scary. I know Strickland just made him look like a child, but that's Strickland. And Dricus beat Strickland twice. The first time, I think Strickland won. It was a very close fight, but the second one, I know Strickland had a broken arm or whatever, but Strickland, every fight, that's just Strickland these days. Strickland fights with a broken arm. He fought Khamzat with a broken shoulder. So that's just how Strickland fights. And for him to 50-45, look, if he barely beat that version of Strickland, it's different. But he 50-45 the Strickland. It doesn't matter what version of Strickland, 50-45ing him is very impressive. And so let's talk about on the feet, right? So I don't think Kamaru will be able to hold him down for long, and Kamaru doesn't have that submission factor as much. So Dricus won't be as scared to give up his back to get back to his feet. And on the feet, Kamaru has like a jab, right? We saw against Buckley in the 5th round, he looked like a victim a little bit. Even against Khamzat Chimaev in round 2 and 3, when Khamzat is just completely gassed out in front of him, and all he really had, I do think that fight was a draw. And that's with giving Khamzat a 10-8 in the first, which we've seen a lot of more dominant rounds not get a 10-8. We're not going to talk about that. But I had it scored a draw. Regardless, round 2 and 3, you have victim Hamzat out there, and all you can do is land the jab. I know Hamzat's not that bad on the feet. He actually made it competitive with Strickland on the feet, but again, Strickland had a popped shoulder. What's your excuse, Kamaru Usman? If anything, Hamzat broke his arm in that fight. So what's your excuse for making it competitive the last 2 rounds and still getting taken down at times? I'm going to be picking Dricus du Plessis by knockout. I'm going to say round 3 knockout. We're going to go with for Dricus du Plessis. He has a lot of power. He's going to be much bigger, and he's much better on the feet, and he's much more dominant on the feet. That's the thing. If, like, certain people on the feet, even though they're better, they can't really make things work. Dricus, and this is in general what makes him who he is, he's not the most technical. But he's just going to throw bombs at you, and he's goofy, and he's going to land it. And he's just, I could see him taking down Kamaru Usman. I really could. He took down Whitaker with the female throw. That's the kind of shit that Dricus du Plessis does. A flying piano might come out. When they collide, there's going to be a fucking cloud around them and little squiggly things coming out, and you're going to be hearing horns. Dricus du Plessis is going to knock out Kamaru Usman. It has to stop here. This isn't even like a Whitaker moving up and fighting a Krylov. This is number 9 ranked welterweight moving up and fighting number 2 ranked heavyweight. That's a very, very, very harsh welcome to the middleweight division, even though he fought here once. But this is like his official, I'm coming to middleweight. I'm picking Dricus du Plessis by knockout, and that is my final picks on the entire card. We're an okay fan with this poster. It's not as bad as the last one. The last one was just super AI'd. This one's okay. Probably still used AI knowing the UFC, but I kind of like the color of it. It's one of my favorite colors, actually. Anyway, that's it for this video. Please share it with people who you think will appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already. A friend told me that I should tell you guys to smash the subscribe button. I gotta smash the subscribe button. Alhamdulillah, I will smash subscribe button, and see you guys in the next video. Peace.